You didn't.
Put your hands behind your back.
Please go.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
Get your hands.
Put your hands behind your back.
Welcome back to Advocacy Alchemy with Professor Ross. Today we have a good one, guys. We're headed to Sarasota, Florida, where a late night traffic stop turns into a DUI arrest, a resistance charge, and a car that's impounded. And guess what? It all happens over loud music, in addition to a spilled drink. But what starts as a noise citation quickly becomes a layered case about compliance, behavior, and evidentiary thresholds. So let's break it all down, from what the officer saw to how the suspect acted and where the law applies. Stick around because we've got lessons for everyone on this old but good case. Let's jump in.
Close your door. Close your door. Hey, get back in your car. Get back in your car.
No, I'm not. I parked correctly.
6205 dispatch. Female's walking away from the vehicle. Take
I
another
parked
unit.
30.
Put your hands behind your back. You're not walking away from the traffic stop. Put your hands behind your back.
You didn't.
Put your hands behind your back.
Please go.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
Get your hands.
Put your hands behind your back.
What is wrong?
Put your hand behind your back. Put your other hand behind your back. Put your other hand behind your back.
Hold it. Get off now.
Put your hand behind your back.
No.
Put your hand behind your back.
What is wrong with you? No, stop.
Put your other fucking hand behind your back.
Sorry, babe. No.
Hey, man. I'll put...
Get off of me.
5 dispatch. I got one female resisting counties out with me. Put your fucking hand behind your back like I told you.
I did nothing wrong.
Yes, you did.
What did I do wrong? Ow.
Stand up.
Stop. I will.
No, you're not going to walk away from a traffic stop.
It was not a traffic stop. Sorry. It was not. Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious?
Thanks, man. Appreciate you stopping. Yeah, you can't just walk away from a traffic stop.
I didn't.
It's all on
Thank
camera.
you.
It's all on camera.
How is it? No, I didn't.
Oh, sorry. Walk to my car over here, okay?
No, my purse. No.
Yes, yes, yes. You're under arrest.
Why? Please stop.
She just slipped her cuff.
Please stop.
I did it.
Okay, I will not fire. Sorry.
Yeah, well, you're not listening to anything I'm telling you. I have to put my hands on you.
You pulled
and you're resisting.
But it was a traffic stop.
Yes, it was a traffic stop. I got to
No,
tell you
it
something.
wasn't.
Okay, you can argue that all you want. It's all on camera. There's cameras everywhere.
I know it is.
Okay.
And what did I do wrong? Please tell me.
Blasting your music, and you rolled the red light right here. You didn't even let me explain because you got out of the car and started walking away.
Because I parked my car?
The lights were on well before we even turned the corner. Where's your ID? As in your purse?
Yes.
Okay.
And I parked my car because...
Yeah, you're right. That's a lot of room. She just won't stop.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. Do you mind searching her, please?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. No. Are you
That's pretty
serious?
dumb. Yeah, I'm serious. That was really dumb what you did.
What did I do? I didn't do nothing wrong.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay, let me put
Are
it
you
back in my car.
serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
What did I do? I didn't do anything wrong.
Take a seat in the car. Nice. Yeah, that's her.
That's got her name on it.
Muting. I didn't mean to pop you in the head. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I didn't know you were there. Okay. So you're under arrest right now. Okay. So I have to read your Miranda rights to them and explain everything. Okay. So you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to speak to an attorney and have him or her present with you during any and all questioning. You can choose at any time to exercise your rights and not talk to me. Okay, and if you can't afford one will be appointed to you. Do you understand all that? I need a yes or a no. Cause
Yes, I heard you.
Okay, do you understand though? Okay, so I stopped you because your music is louder than 25 feet away. You're blasting with the windows down. Let me explain. And then right here at the red light, you rolled it, didn't come to a complete stop right out of the line, and then I stopped you. My lights were hit back here. It's all on camera. And then you pulled in. What?
Keep on.
So here's the thing. You smell like booze, your eyes are bloodshot and water, you're slurring your speech, you spilled your drink on the ground. I want to make sure you're okay to be driving. Are you okay with doing a few tests to make sure you're okay to be driving?
I'm fine, baby.
Okay. Are you okay with running a few tests up on the curb? They'll take your cuffs off you? Are you okay with doing a few tests though?
Fine.
It's a yes or no question. Are you okay with doing tests? It's a yes or a no question.
No.
You don't want to do tests?
My rights are ready.
I know that.
So I'm already going.
Okay. So with your slurred speech, your open alcohol container, your bloodshot watery eyes, your behavior, you're under arrest for DUI as well, okay? So DUI and resisting without violence, okay? All right, well, it's all on camera, so have fun with that. I literally told you verbatim, get back in your fucking car, and you didn't listen to me.
I was in a park my Sunday. I was parking right there. So why am I not supposed to park at?
You can make that argument when you go to court, okay? Because it's all on camera, and you can make that argument when you go to court. Holy cow, your license is revoked. What's up with that? Hennepin County, huh? Minneapolis. That's my neck of the woods. Oh yeah, don't you hear it in my voice? When I called out your license plate, I said Minnesota. You're gonna be getting a handful of tickets, okay? One for the music, one for the red light, one for the open, and then one for the open container in your car. So I don't know. No, so listen to me, Christina. Hey, listen to me. I was the cop who passed you outside smoking Joe's before you took off. I saw your drink on your trunk as you're talking to that dude. I looped the parking lot. You're hauling down Main. I get behind you. What do you know? That drink is in your passenger seat, spilled all over the floor. And there was still alcohol in the cup with the lime. I saw that drink on your trunk, and the ring was still on your trunk. That was not old. Okay? That's fine. I got plenty of probable cause to charge you with it. Okay? I can articulate everything. And your car got impounded, okay? All right.
I would like to know what justice you did, though.
Okay, hop over there.
Blue head.
Blue head.
Blue ass. Where you from? Where you from?
Go to that door, okay?
Yeah.
Right there.
Where you from?
I'm from the Midwest. You know, when I was pulling you over, I thought I was going to meet someone really nice. I saw Minnesota.
We're nice.
Huh?
We're nice, so we mean nice people.
I'm nice. I just wouldn't recommend walking away from a traffic stop next time.
I know, that's right.
So we're going to go up to this box right there. We're going to get your fingerprints, okay? So finger right here, 2 fingers.
All right, so this happened in Sarasota, Florida, so let's use the Florida law. First, we have resisting arrest without violence. This is found at the Florida statutes, section 843.02, and it's defined as knowingly and willfully resisting, obstructing, or opposing a law enforcement officer without offering violence. It carries a penalty of a first-degree misdemeanor, and that's up to 1 year in jail, possibly 1 year on probation, and a fine of up to $1,000. Here, the woman repeatedly refused to comply with lawful commands to return to the vehicle and physically resisted being handcuffed, meaning the elements of resistance without violence. Moving on to the second charge, we have driving under the influence. Now, this is found at the Florida Statute Section 316.193. And it says operating a vehicle with a blood alcohol content. Now that's BAC of 0.08% or more is considered being over the legal limit or while impaired by alcohol or drugs. You have to keep in mind when you're impaired by drugs, it won't affect your blood alcohol content because you're not under the influence of alcohol. This carries a penalty for a first offense up to 6 months in jail. You could have your license suspended from anywhere from 6 months to 12 months. You could face a fine between $500 and $1,000. Additionally, you potentially will have to go to DUI school, and your vehicle could be impounded. We saw that her vehicle was impounded. Here, the officer mentioned that the woman had bloodshot eyes, slurred speech, the smell of alcohol, and she had the spilled alcohol container in her car, and she refused to perform sobriety tests, and that all led to a DUI arrest. Let's move on to our third charge, and that's an open container violation. This is found at section 316.1936. It's unlawful to possess an open container of alcohol in a vehicle in Florida. Now, this is a non-criminal traffic infraction. That means it carries a fine. That's a ticket. You just have to pay the fine. Here, the officer mentioned he saw a drink on the trunk before she drove off from Smoking Joe's, and then discovered the same drink opened and spilled in her passenger seat. And he mentioned she still had the ring from the cold drink on her trunk. All right, so let's move up to one more. We have failure to obey traffic control device. That's running a red light. This is found at section 316.075. Failing to stop at a red light is a civil traffic infraction. And this is true in every state. It carries a minimum fine of $158. Now, if a person is caught on camera, apparently they don't get any points toward their driving record, but if you're not caught on camera and the police has to, bring you to court, you will get some points on your driver's license. And usually that's about 3 points towards your driver's license. All right, here she rolled through the red light without stopping, and that was part of the basis for the original stop in the first place. All right, number 5, we have unlawful amplified sound. This is found at section 316.3045, and that prohibits someone playing music that can be heard 25 feet away or more from a vehicle. This is once again a non-criminal infraction. The fine is usually about $114. The officer noted that he could hear the music clearly blasting before he initiated the stop. Finally, we have driving with a revoked license. This is found at section 322.34. Driving with knowledge of a revoked license is a criminal offense. First offense is a second-degree misdemeanor. Repeat offenses move up to a felony. Her license was revoked out of Minnesota, and the woman even admitted that she knew the license was suspended from that other state. All right, next let's move into the evidentiary standards. Let's walk through the 6 levels of evidentiary proof and how they apply to this situation here in Sarasota, Florida. First, you have mere suspicion. Now, this is a gut instinct or unconfirmed hunch. It's not enough for any legal action. Here, the officer seeing a drink on the trunk before the stop might start as mere suspicion. It's not enough on its own to make a stop, but once certain things happen, like her taking the open drink into the car, it might be enough for a stop. Number 2, reasonable suspicion. This is when the police or the government have specific articulable facts suggesting that a person is involved in some criminal activity. This is required for the police to make a stop or a brief detention in order to investigate further to see if there's some crime happening. A good example is rolling through the red light, and the loud music gave officers reasonable suspicion to initiate a traffic stop. Moving up one more level, we have probable cause. This is when the government has a reasonable ground to believe a crime has been committed and the suspect is involved. This is what's needed for an arrest to happen, or for the police to go back and receive a search warrant or an arrest warrant. And we have so many ors, or to do a warrantless search under certain limited exceptions. A good example here, the officer observed the woman's slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, an open container, and the strong odor of alcohol. That all gives them probable cause for a DUI arrest. All right, we move up to number 4, preponderance of the evidence. This means more likely than not, and it requires you to have in your favor about 51% of the evidence. This is used mostly in civil cases. And remember, civil cases are where people sue each other for money. A good example is if the state argued that she was knowingly driving while impaired, they'd need to show it's more likely true than not. Now, preponderance of the evidence also is used for certain revocations. So I don't know if this woman is on any sort of parole or probation due to her having several DUIs in the past. You see, she came in with her third offense under 10 years. Moving up one more level, we have clear and convincing evidence. This means that something is highly probable or reasonably certain. This takes about 75% of the evidence in your favor to win this type of case. This is also used in civil cases, but it's further used in certain cases where you need to present more evidence. Child custody cases, where you're arguing to change custody. Certain administrative hearings, say for instance when a person is going to be terminated or going to lose a professional license. This comes into play. A good example is proving the knowledge of her revoked license status out of another state. The DMV may use this standard during a revocation hearing concerning her license. Moving up to our highest level, beyond a reasonable doubt. This standard is required for every criminal conviction and for every criminal trial. This standard simply means that there is no other reasonable alternative besides the guilt of the defendant. A good example is at trial, prosecutors would need to prove every element of DUI and resisting arrest beyond a reasonable doubt, including that she was in actual physical control while impaired and that she knew that she was resisting arrest. All right, so with that, let's move into our next section, the jury perspective. Let's take a seat on the jury. And the funny thing is, I'm headed to jury trial this morning. Would you believe that this woman didn't know that she was being stopped? Let's start there. The officer's lights were clearly on, and her loud music and red light rolling stop were both observed and recorded by the officer's dash cam and apparently by his body cam also. Do you think her behavior was the result of confusion or intoxication? Second, was her walking away a misunderstanding or attempt to avoid the confrontation? And like we always talk about, your intuition is important as a juror, as a bystander, or as the police. When the officer says, "That was really dumb what you did," there's a mix of frustration and truth. That line hits because we've all had that feeling where we know someone crossed the line. And I usually get that feeling every time I see someone digging themselves deeper into a hole they're not going to be able to get out of. So with that, today's jury section is fairly simple. This is a straightforward case. What do you think? Guilty or not guilty? You saw on the information at the very end of the video, this is her third time driving under influence. The woman doesn't look very old. I mean, she looks actually fairly young. I think the big takeaway for her is stop all this drinking or stop drinking and driving. So, what are the major lessons here? First, never walk away from a traffic stop. That alone can turn a simple citation into a criminal charge. Second, if you're drinking, don't drive, period. DUI cases are built on behavior and not just the blood test. Third, what you say and how you say it, especially under stress, can either calm a situation or it can escalate it. Finally, camera footage doesn't lie. Every move you make during a stop could be scrutinized later on. Let me know in the comments, was the arrest justified? What level of evidence do you think was met here? And do you think a jury would convict Christina? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, this is Advocacy Alchemy, and I am Professor Ross. I'll see you tomorrow. Everyone stay safe out there and have a great day.